Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to my review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Is it the end? Stay tuned to the end of this video where I tell you whether it is the end or not. So this will be non-spoilers real quick, and then we'll just get into spoilers. This film, as much as I enjoyed it, frustrated me at times. There are certain scenes that play out where I did get a little bit bored, I'm not going to lie. This is all action spectacles, kind of what they're designed for, I guess. But they have embraced that spectacle more and more and more. And I think actually to the detriment of the narrative. So this film is all about, I mean, it takes off from the last one, right? Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Although they dropped the Part 1, didn't they? Now it's no longer Part 2, it's just The Final Reckoning. So it takes off from there. Of course, we've got to find this ChatGPT. Okay, you know, AI's running wild. It's the new villain of the century. This is what we're working with now. And I will say this, I feel like some of this may have been written by AI comically enough. It definitely has that element. But yeah, so effectively, this is a lot of action spectacle. And I will say this, they did better than they did on the last movie. They didn't really show a lot of it in the trailers. So some of this stuff I wasn't really expecting. If you remember back to Dead Reckoning Part 1, they just kept releasing scene after scene. So by the time the film came out, you had actually seen the majority of the action sequences. Don't do that. Like when your film is built around action sequences, don't do that. That's incredibly moronic. So they didn't really do that this time, and the action felt fresh as a result of that. They did release one or two. You know, there's like an underwater scene, and they did reveal some of that, some of the behind the scenes stuff. These films are what they are, and I think you've got to really love them to sit there for 2 hours and 51 minutes. That's a long time. And again, as much as I enjoyed this film in parts, I was very frustrated. Is this, non-spoilers, a satisfying movie, just generally speaking? No, not really. It's actually quite middle of the road, to be honest. And it's because of what I've said with the action spectacle, to the detriment of the narrative. For this movie to be as good as it should be for what it is, you know, it's The Final Reckoning and 2 hours 51 minutes, it needed to have a really stronger storyline. And they prey on you being full-blown member buried up in this film. You know, there's lots of callbacks, lots of flashbacks. Some of them are actually really fun, but it is predicated on you giving a shit. And at certain points, I really was clock watching. I was like, come on now, behave. We're doing another thing. Right, oh God. And that's the crux of it. These movies are MacGuffin movies, you know. Got to go from here to here to get this. But if the in-between narrative, right, like MacGuffin movies are you have to go to get plot device A and take it to plot location B so plot device can become C, right? But you need the narrative threads to carry you through that in a really satisfying way. This wasn't that satisfying. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It was actually really beautifully shot. And you know that pretty much straight from the off. Like the first few sequences, you're just watching it and you're like, yeah, this is beautifully made. Like it's really well made. And Tom Cruise does a special intro. This isn't a spoiler. He just intros the film. And you can feel the sincerity, right? Like, there is sincerity behind making this film, but it was not a satisfying conclusion. It was not a satisfying film, and that's because they've relied too heavily on the fact that Tom Cruise does his own stunts. So they're like, look, guys, he's doing his own stunts. Look, do you see this? He's doing his own stunts. So it's just become this internal competition, I feel, between the actor and the director and the studio of what we can do and what we can get away with and what the audience is prepared to sit through. So can I recommend it? I mean, if you've watched them all, you should probably watch it, I guess. But it's 2 hours, 51 minutes. It's a long old haul. And I think you might get a bit bored here and there. Because the narrative's not that tight. It's really not that tight. It's also very cartoonish. The villain is incredibly cartoonish. And the writing's a bit crap in parts. So for a film that's cost loads of money and has taken so long to make, I would have expected better. It's a long time to refine this movie. And I think that they failed on that level. Anyway, there you go. There's my non-spoiler part. Shall we get into spoilers? Let's get into spoilers. Let's get into spoilers, ladies and gents. Spoiler warning! Need, like, the lunk alarm. Do-do-do-do. You've been warned. You've been warned, ladies and gents. Let's talk spoilers. Right. The Entity. I could have included this in non-spoilers, but I want to talk about this. What a lazy-ass shit name for a bloody AI villain in a movie. Oh, it's the Entity. Like, oh, God, really? It's something I pulled up in my last review of the Dead Reckoning Part 1. I hate that name. I think it's really, really crap. I think it's super lame. It's probably come up... Some, like, studio executive was like, oh, you know what, we should call it the Entity. And everyone just fapped themselves off around him. No. No, mate. That is the lamest, dumbest name for an AI ever. It's super lame. Okay? It's what a boomer would think is cool. It's lame. It's super lame. And because it's so lame, whenever they say it, I am a bit like, ugh. Every single time I cringe just a little bit. So the story is that the Entity has effectively started taking control of nuclear missiles all across the world. And what they're trying to do is a toss-up between America controlling the Entity, right? Or, and this is legitimately words that they say in the movie, or Ethan Hunt destroying it, but destroying, quote, cyberspace, unquote, in the process. Cyberspace. Honestly, some of the writing, some of the dialogue is a cringe fest, mate. It's really lame. It's very much boomery. It really is. The Entity, and it's going to destroy cyberspace if they destroy it. Or a 5D drive. So the ultimate plan is Ethan Hunt is going to... Let me backtrack. Ving Rhames' character, he's dying. He's developed the poison pill to kill the Entity. It's a drive that he needs to then put into the drive that Ethan Hunt needs to put the poison pill into the drive that he takes from the Sevastopol submarine, which will then upload the Entity fully. I guess. I don't really understand it. Anyway, uploads it to the interwebs or some shit like that. Then they're gonna catch the Entity, because the Entity is gonna destroy everyone with everyone's nukes. It's gonna go Armageddon, right? But the Entity, to live out Armageddon, is gonna go to a doomsday bunker in South Africa. I'm not making this up. This is legitimately the film. So they need to go to South Africa, catch the Entity, and lock it in a 5D drive. That's the MacGuffin. But they first had to go get the drive from the Sevastopol. And so there's just scenes where I'm like, oh, this is going on a bit. This is going on quite a bit right now. I won't spoil any of the action, right? I've spoiled the whole plot itself. But one of the things which really bothered me was at the end of the movie, Gabriel and Ethan Hunt are in planes. They make them bright yellow and bright red. Don't know why, but whatever. And they're cool, like they're biplanes. It's a really, actually great sequence, especially knowing that some of this stuff or all of it would have just been done as they are, right? Like Tom Cruise probably did fly that plane, and some terrifying sequences. But because they were pushing for all of these sequences, they fail to take a step back from the movie that they're shooting and go, would Ethan Hunt waste time not putting in the disk drive when he had the chance? There were multiple opportunities where he could have put that poison pill in that disk drive and uploaded the Entity to the internet, and he didn't. Right? He didn't. And that kind of stuff is quite egregious. Really egregious. And there's just dumb people doing dumb things that you just think to yourself, in that world, would you do it? Probably not. Has Ethan Hunt got a track record across decades of saving the world? Yes. Should you probably trust him by now? Yes. And the villain is so cartoonish. He's like cackling away in his biplane. He's like, only one of us has the parachute, Ethan. And so he then ejects himself. He doesn't eject himself. He gets cut loose. And then he immediately, like, head into the dorsal fin of the biplane. You're like, this is just so cartoonish. Anyway, I don't think this is going to be the final one because Ethan Hunt survives the end. The final reckoning is between him and Voights. Is it Voights? I can't remember his name, but the villain in the first movie. It's between him and his son, Ethan Hunt, and that character's son. Right? That's the reckoning. Yeah, you'll get your reckoning. And then they just shake, and that's it. That is it. Everyone survives at the end of this movie. Aside from Ving Rhames' character, because he's dead. Look, it wasn't that great. It was overly long, built around the action sequences, which, although are fantastic, cannot hold a film together when the narrative is that weak and the writing and the dialogue is that cringe. Now, it's a good popcorn flick, but you need 2 bags of popcorn. Okay? But I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it. And for 2 hours, 51 minutes, you should love that film. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think down below. I think this will divide people. It'll be like Marmite. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. But let me know what you think down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.